In this video, I'm going to show you different options you have for choosing the station lab that'll work best in your situation. Now, there are three main ways you can use the version 2 station lab materials in the exploration phase. As you can see, I'm inside the 5E weather bundle, and we're looking at the topic called convection currents. It's going to be the same for every topic though. We're just going to be using convection currents throughout this little video demonstration. So the first option you have is to use the in-class print versions. And you can see we've included the PDF and the PowerPoint version. Now the PowerPoint is editable. That's why we've included that. So you'll click on download and it will open the file. I've already got it open here, so let me just pop it up. Now, this version is for you if your students are able to move around the room in groups. You can set up 9 different stations around the room with 2 or 3 copies of the materials at each station. The students would move from station to station using the materials and writing their answers on the answer sheets, which I'll show you in just a moment. So for more specific details on the concept of using stations, you can watch the full Station Lab webinar, which is back on your dashboard. If your students aren't allowed to move around the room or share materials, you might consider doing several of the stations together as a class. So maybe even consider like the Watch It station and the Research station as a class, and then you could print out the other stations for the students to move through. Now there's also a modified version of the reading passage. Let me show you the reading passage here. This is the independent version or the on-level version. And then you'll see this little icon represents the modified version. So you can see that it's actually several reading levels below the on-level version. The modified version, I would also not include the Challenge It station. And it also has a word bank for the vocabulary section on the Assess It station. So just some options for you if you have students with modifications in your class. Now at the end of the file, I do want to show you that you'll see on the left-hand side of the PowerPoint that these are the dependent. So this is the on-level answer key, or answer sheet rather. And then this is the modified answer sheet. Just the front and back. The students will walk around the classroom with this answer document and work through the stations. And at the end, we've included a suggested teacher answer key for you to reference. The second option you can use is the self-contained digital version. Now you can use this version if your students are working remotely or you have one-to-one devices and can't use or share paper materials. There is a separate file for the modified version. So I'm looking at these right here. The Digital Interactive M stands for the modified, and this is the on-level version. Now the modified version has a simplified reading passage, fewer stations, a word bank at the Assess It station, and simplified tasks. So I'm going to click download here, and I've actually already have it up. So I'm going to pop it up. And with this version, students are going to open one file. It's going to be either in PowerPoint or Google Slides, and they're going to interact with it in the normal edit mode. So one of the things that we see often is that students go into presentation mode and that the pieces will not be interactive. So they're going to interact with it just in the mode that you see here, which is called normal mode. And they can type answers into text boxes or manipulate shapes to complete the task. So you can see this happens to be the Organize It station. We would ocean currents always flow south to north. That's not a fact. That's a fiction. And the sun's energy directly impacts ocean and winds. Facts. So the students are doing the same tasks, however, they're doing it all digitally. The third option is to use the digital version that includes a Google form. You could use this version if your students are working remotely or if you have one-to-one devices and can't use or share paper materials. With this version, students open up 2 different files. The first is the Station Lab itself, and it's opened up in normal edit mode in either PowerPoint or Google Slides. The second is a Google answer form sheet that has been formatted with questions that match the stations. Now, some of the sections in the form require the students to upload screenshots of the stations that have images to create or manipulate, so students don't lose the opportunity to interact with those particular stations, like you see in the Illustrate section here. They also have response type questions that require the students' input, like in the Write It section. If we go back to the dashboard, you'll see that there's also a modified version of the Google form, which includes a simplified reading passage, fewer stations, a word bank in the Assess It, and simplified tasks. The links to the Google Forms are listed in the teacher directions of the print version. So this is where you're going to find the links. And when you click it, it's going to force you to create a copy on your own Google Drive so that you have your own individual copy. And that's the link that you'll share with students. So those are the three options for how to use the Station Labs, or how to determine which one you want to use for your particular case. Once you've decided which method you'll use, you can watch the videos below to learn more in-depth strategies for each of the different files.